Hello there, and welcome to PlannedPath podcast, your choice hub for book reviews and crucial conversations. Drum roll! See, this year I'm giving you guys super duper episodes. With me on the call today, on the podcast today, I've got Moshood, Iyowunawi. So Moshood is just going to pronounce his name. I'm sorry for murdering your name now. I met Moshood last year, and he's been a brother and a friend to me. So, yeah, Moshood, welcome to PlannedPath podcast.
Yeah, good morning, Tosin.
Good
And
morning.
it is pronounced Iyowunawi.
Okay, all right, we got that. I would
Yeah.
appreciate if you could add some volume to your voice so that we can hear you properly.
Oh, um, so good to be here. I hope I'm audible enough at this moment.
Yeah. So, have you listened
So
to any podcast episode from us before?
yes, I have.
Oh,
Was basically on some book reviews that that you posted some time ago,
yeah. Sorry.
and I've been listening since then.
Oh, nice.
Occasionally, when there's time, I do that.
Okay. Oh, okay, nice. Okay, so today we had a conversation last year about some stuff, and we're like, yeah, why not just let's jump on a podcast episode together and bring you insightful conversations that we had together. Okay, today is we're recording this episode on Sunday 28th January 6:44 West African time, and we are going to talk about tiny habits today because when I sent you that message, I will be talking about tiny habits. What did you think?
The first thing that came to mind was I'm going to be exposed. This is going to be an exposure interrogation because
it,
I really am excited when it comes to talking about habits. Habit is the building block of our behaviors. And so when I got the message that, oh, tiny habits, I was really excited because over the last 2 years, I've had a lot to learn from my experiences and education aspects.
oh, interesting. Actually, because I love books a lot, right? There's a book that you may like to check out. The Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg. It's called The Tiny Small Things. The small things that change everything. So there's a quote from that book that I want to read out. It says, take a behavior you want, make it tiny, find where it fits naturally in your life, and nurture its growth. Take a behavior you want, make it tiny, find where it fits naturally in your life, and nurture its growth. So, what would you say about tiny habits from here? Would you like to share an experience of a tiny habit that you picked up that has been transformational to you?
Yeah. Last couple of years, I was really battling with procrastination, and I got to the
Procrastination.
cycle.
Interesting. I'm
Yeah,
listening.
yeah. So in the house, there's this phrase they use for me in the house. Uh, I
There's
don't know
this
if
what?
I'm allowed to. There's a phrase they use for me in the house. They'll
Okay.
say in Yoruba, they'll say, "Asoromase." That's
Whoa.
what you call me. Like I say something and I don't do it. So I said, what can I do to improve on this habit? And again, being consistent, doing what I say I will do, and being consistent in it brings about integrity on my own part, and then people can rely on me. So I started out with writing, like the quotes from BJ Fox. I started out writing my plans for the day, and I don't follow through. I still don't follow through.
Wow.
But it got to a certain point. It got to a certain point because it affected me at work as well. And then my boss was always hammering on my head. What is really your role in this organization? You're supposed to do this at this very moment. You are doing it at this time when it's uh, almost late. So I was sanctioned in the office. I was suspended a certain time because it was too much and my boss could no longer
Interesting.
handle it.
So from your personal life, this now took you to your corporate life. Like it affected your
Yeah,
corporate life. I'm
it
listening.
affected my corporate life. Yeah.
Mm.
So when I got suspended, I think that was when I got this realization. I realized
Mm.
when I go home, uh, my parents, because I had to go back to my parents, and they're like, "Oh, you see, we've been telling you. You say you want to do this now. You won't. You might end up the task that should be done in under 10, 20 minutes. You take about 3 to 4 days to get it done. And it's already affecting you at work. Now you are in the house. What will you do about it?
Mm.
So, for some people, uh,
So,
making changes in their lives, they, they need help from people. So at that point, I was dependent on everyone around me, basically my family members. So if I want to get something done or I've been assigned a task to do in the house, so someone will be there to monitor me. To get it done now. If I say, oh, let me wait, relax a bit, get it done now. Get
mm.
it done now.
That's the place of
So and then
accountability.
the case of accountability, yes.
Mm.
So I was suspended for 2 weeks at work, and for that 2 weeks, my dad actually helped me out. So for each day, he gives me a task. He say, I want you to do this thing for me. Call me at this hour to tell me give me the result of the
Mm.
activity I gave it to.
Mm.
So initially it was a struggle, like 2 3 days was a struggle. He was calling, but I ignored his calls. So whenever I see you, he say something like, "You started again. If you really want to improve in your life, you need to start doing things that will make others to be able to rely on." And
Mm.
I still felt a little. I said, "You guys should leave me alone because I don't like to stress."
Mm.
And that's the thing. Someone who doesn't like to stress, you're giving that person a certain task, the person will find it difficult to accomplish the task.
Mm.
So then my brother decided, he said, okay, since you have decided to be like this, he also he took a week from work, and then he stayed with me in the house. So he helped me during that process. There's this 21, I think 21 90 rule. I take 21 days to form an habit and 90 days for it to become a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So my brother was with me in the house. In the
Speak
morning,
up,
so
Moshood,
if
please.
oh, in the morning, if I want to do something, let's say I have a task schedule for the day, you monitor me all through the day to make sure I execute the task as planned. So gradually, that way, I was being assigned tasks that I will complete, not in time,
Mm.
but eventually I got there, and then
Mm.
I was able to continue on my own. And
Oh.
thank God for ALX. Then when I got into ALX,
Shout out
everything
to
changed.
ALX Africa and ALX Nigeria. Oh yeah, we are listening.
So when I got into ALX, the foundational program, uh, building yourself towards becoming a better version of yourself, uh,
Mm.
professional version of yourself. Although before then, I resigned from work. For during
Mm.
the course of the program, I was able to improve a lot, and I'm really happy for that. So now
Wow,
I think I've
that's nice
benefited
to
a lot
hear.
from it. Personally. I've grown. Yeah,
Okay, so let's go
that's
on a
that.
quick commercial break. We'll just go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss briefly on New Year resolutions because I know that it's January and a lot of people have issues in this respect. So let's go on our quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back from our break. It's PlannedPath Podcast, your choice hub for book reviews and crucial conversations. Today we're discussing tiny habits with Moshood. Okay, so Moshood, it's January and a lot of us set grand, big, grandiose goals in January. And what do you think it's at the end of the year, last year and this year? What do you think is the place of tiny habits in achieving our goals that we set for the year?
Oh, okay. Personally, for me, I was able to achieve a lot last year. Uh, from, I mean, by making plans, you know, creating the calendar for the month, and it
Mm,
changes. It changes with activities and events. It changes over a period of time, but it's always good to have a plan for the day, and not just for the day. Let's say for a week or 2 weeks.
mm,
So it helps you. It keeps you focused on
mm,
achieving the set goal for the month or for the year. That
mm.
was what helped me throughout. And then I was able to break everything that I want to do into smaller, like
Exactly. Tiny habits.
yes, into tiny habits. So because the tiny habits eventually these things that we do, we are consistent in it. Like setting the weekly plan. If you're
Yes,
consistent in it, it becomes automatic. It no longer becomes a stressful thing. Something you can
exactly.
quickly get done over the weekend. That was
Exactly.
what helped me achieve. That was
You,
what
you,
helped me achieve the goal
you
for
know,
the year.
one thing me I would like to add here, right, is the fact that the habits look so tiny and insignificant that is like, I'll do it later now, I'll do it later. But is the compound effect of your tiny habits that amazes me. Let me break it down for
Yeah.
you. So at the beginning of this year, or I actually set goals with I set goals, and one of my health goals is to be hydrated. I don't want to be someone that is parched. Maybe because I get to speak a lot because of my work. I get to speak a lot. So it's important to me that I always drink water. By the way, there's a podcast episode on what they call it. You're too good to feel this bad, something like that. So you're too good to feel this bad. So one of the things there is on actually drinking water and eating well. I want to drink water now. I always have water beside me. Excuse me. So I one of my goals is to be properly hydrated, right? And I broke it into a tiny goal. If I want to be, when someone drinks water a lot, their lips will not be looking dry, their voice will sound well, it won't sound husky and all of that. So part of that, right, my goal is to drink eight sachets of water in a day. Eight sachets of water if I'm drinking pure water, and if I'm drinking bottled water, the small one, I think that should be 4 or 5. So the thing is now that big goal of looking moisturized, you just drink 8 sachets of water every day. And so, like what the author of that book says, very easy. How do I make it fit naturally into my life so that it doesn't look like I'm doing anything out of place? Like what he was said in ALX Foundation, find a spot and make it look natural. So what I did is that, of course, I'll wake up by God's grace every day. Once I wake up, I first thing I do, I grab water and I drink a sachet of water. So before breakfast, I end up drinking like 2 sachets of water. Around my meal, I'll take 1 sachet of water. So in the morning, I've taken like 3 sachets of water already. Then it gets hot in the afternoon. You have to drink more water. You have lunch and everything. So it just fits naturally. For instance, now one of my fitness goals is to take some number of steps in a day. I like to do between like 5,000, 6,000, just to be consistent, right? And it's very easy for me because I'm like nothing super. When I'm going around the day, okay, I count my steps and be sure that I'm walking. And when I'm not walking around, the days I have to go take a walk, you understand? Maybe I work from home. Very easy. I just stand up, irrespective of how I feel. I just stand up. Okay, it fits naturally in my life because maybe in the morning, okay, if I wasn't recording a podcast this morning, I might have considered going for my walk this morning. And since I didn't go this morning, I'll go in the evening. So it's quite flexible. That's something else that we should learn as well, flexibility. And Moshood, a lot of people will say, I don't feel motivated. Like you said it at some point in what you said earlier, that they don't feel motivated. What's the place of motivation in doing your in just showing up for yourself and showing up for your goals?
Actually, if you rely solely on motivation, you won't get things done. Because what happens during the time when you are not motivated, or your trigger factors for the motivations are not there.
Mm.
So the place of motivation really is just to psych you up. And for some people, it's not really about, oh, this is what gets me there. They will have it, but it's still not enough. So for me, having the accountability partner or having a set plan, when you have a set plan and you're keen on getting things done for yourself, because you get to a certain point in life where you realize that, man, you are all by yourself. That no matter what it is, you will always be responsible for your actions. So when you get to that point, you know that you don't really need motivations to get things done. Yeah, just a few things, maybe in your professional aspect, professional areas of life, or when it comes to your passive or active behaviors. Yes, you need motivation for that. But the major thing is having a plan, having an accountability partner, and then just in case you don't get your motivation trigger to get things done.
There's a quote that says that motivation will meet you, motivation will come, but just make sure it meets you walking. So,
Working, yes.
irrespective of how you feel, stand up, do the work, and before you know it, motivation comes. Let me share an experience that happened on Friday. That was 2 days ago. So on Friday evening, I was supposed to take a walk, and the truth of the matter is that I had quite an interesting day, right? I didn't really move around. I was just around the house, right? But I had quite a lot to do in the morning slash afternoon. So when it was evening, I had not moved. I had not achieved my step goal for the day, and I was just tired. I was like, should I go? Should I not go? So I was chatting with somebody, and I just said, "Oh, Victoria, you need to. you just. I'm fine." And she was like, "How are you doing?" Just I said, "I'm fine. It's just for me to stand up in 15 minutes time for my work." She was like, "Of course, stand up." So I stood up immediately, and once she went off the call, off the chat, I just called someone. I said, please, I need you to just stay on the phone till I brush and wear my sneakers and go downstairs. Once I'm downstairs, you can go off. So I was like, oh, you was like, oh, sure, fine. So stayed on the call. We're just talking till I left. Irrespective of how I felt that day, I stood up and took that walk. Do you know the irony? Immediately, like I always say, it's just for you to start. Immediately I got outside my gate and I just felt fresh breeze. That was the end. I had a very long walk. I had an interesting conversation on my walk, and it's just for you to get started. And motivation is good. It's good for you to feel pumped up. But like Moshood said, we will not always feel happy to do something. Just do it. And I think this word is for a lot of young people that are very big on motivation. Motivation is good. It's good to do what you like and all of that, but you just gotta do it. I mean, Sally, I don't know. Dangote, I don't think Dangote's vision or goal is, maybe we'll bring another podcast episode that talks about balancing passion and everything. But you just gotta do it. Like I tell people, I may not like a particular job I'm doing, I may not like a particular contract, but it pays the bills and it puts me in the right state of mind to do what I need to do the things I love. Okay, for instance, like if you're an
Yeah,
HR person and your
yeah,
what do you call it, your passion is actually dancing, you still have to do the HR job well because it gives you money to buy the things you need for your dancing class, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny though, because still on this motivation. Let's take a look at people that work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Uh, we can't say, oh, they are motivated to go to work every day.
Nah.
No, we can't say that. Motivation is good. Like motivation is like if you that take you an extra mile, but it's not what will get you there
At
instant.
all.
So, it's not what to get you there. So it is your sense of responsibility and accountability that gets you to do whatever you want to do. Motivation is good. Motivation, just like you rightly said, motivation will meet you along the way. So it's going to be like, oh, like the extra fuel that will get you to your
Mm.
destination.
I also think that one aspect of motivation I want you to talk about, Moshood, is writing your goals down. Don't just say I have it somewhere in my head. I have my to-do list for the day. Like as we before we started this conversation, I started writing things that need to get done, no matter how little they looked. I just wrote them down and I'll just start working on them after. So can you, Moshood, I want you to talk about the place of writing your goals down. Go on, please.
Okay. Writing your goals down requires, I think, at this point, I'll say it requires critical thinking because,
Mm,
dreams change, your goal doesn't. So you can have
yeah.
a set goal. For me, I take goals as a milestone. So there's a very big goal that I need to achieve. So I break it down. When I break it down, so each step for me is a milestone. So that is how I plan. Let's say, okay, at this year, one of my resolutions for the year is to make at least 500,000 naira every month.
Mm,
So how do I achieve that? So I said, okay, breaking it down into uh, smaller goals, smaller achievements, and I was able to plan ahead and then look at considering various options. As I said, it involves critical thinking. Consider various options because here, plan A, plan B, plan C has to come in. So there should be
mm.
backup plan for a backup plan, just in
Exactly.
case things doesn't go the right way. So for me, like I already said, uh, my goal is to make 500K every month. And how do I intend to achieve that? I don't have a 9 to 5 job, but there are other things that I can do. I'm into logistics. So in case logistics doesn't work, or I'll do drop shipping. In case drop shipping doesn't work, like I said, the overall objective doesn't change.
Mm,
But the steps, the plan, the way you get there, it changes along the way with activities.
mm.
Because most of these activities will involve third parties and relationship with other people. And then, but
Yeah.
determine you can't determine the outcome from when you are thinking. You get my point. So now,
Mm,
when it comes to making your goals, I think when it comes to relativity about goals, you don't. Please excuse me. When it comes to relativity about goals for
mm,
each individual,
mm,
setting your targets, setting a target, I think there should be a milestone for for the month,
mm,
for the year. It can be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks goals, 2 months, quarterly goals. So if you can do that for yourself, you find that and you're focused about it because
mm.
using all the factors around, because when you're trying to build habit, because your habits ultimately affect your outcome,
Yeah.
affect your behavior, and your behavior affects the outcome. So when you sit and you critically think about, what are the things that you like to achieve and over a certain period of time. So
Mm,
you don't just there's this thing is in uh, you know KPIs at organizations. There's policies, there's procedures. So
mm,
when you set a big goal, there should be a procedure, not just, oh, I want to go to, let's say I want to go to Victoria Island. I'm in Ikorodu. Okay, here's what I do. I wake up, I go to the park, and I get the bus that will take me straight down to Victoria Island.
mm.
No, that is that is not a visible plan because it can change. What if you don't get the opportunity again to get to the park? It can change because of a bad weather or a riot in the community. But if you have a backup plan while setting your goal, you lay down a procedure for yourself. Okay,
Exactly.
I want to go to VI. What do I do? Okay, when I wake up in the morning, I need to shower, I need to eat, I need to lock the doors, close the windows. So there should be a laid down procedure. That is the effective way to set a plan and to achieve your goal. So it
Moshood,
should
let
be a
me cut
procedure.
you. Let me cut you there because what you are saying is what is in that book. Have you read that book before?
I haven't read the
Okay,
book. That's Tiny Habit.
yes. Let me read
Yeah.
something out for you. So the first step, like you said, is to pinpoint your exact aspiration or outcome. So you are not saying you are not dilly-dallying. Let me give an instance. My outcome is that I have to sleep for 8 hours every day. That's what I want to do. You can see it's so clear, it's so simple, it's so relatable. I'm not trying to speak too much English, it's exact. Secondly, brainstorm possible behavioral solutions. If I say I want to sleep by 1 a.m. every day, I may not get my 8 hours. So, one of my behavioral solutions could be to ensure that I'm sleeping by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. every day. Like you said, very easy. You're brainstorming solutions, you're looking at things, then you look at your golden behaviors, you look at things that are high impact and low impact, feasible and not feasible, because of like the relativity, like you said, of your goal. Okay, for me, my 8 hours, what do you call it, sleep goal, one golden behavior that I had to do. There are times I have meetings that may be out of the house by that time, or have other things doing that are not within my control. But I know that when I am at home, it is within my power to do it. I can set an alarm for night for to sleep before 9 p.m. So what I do is by 7:30 p.m. there's an alarm that goes off. Prepare for bed. That gives me 1 hour to round up whatever I'm doing, take a bath or something. And once it's 8:45 p.m., an alarm comes that says, drop what you're doing and lie down on the bed. Trust me, if I do that, every day I do that, I know I sleep before 9 because in 5-10 minutes I've slept. I've dropped my phone and I have slept. So those are like things I needed to do. Like, then the fourth one says, find the tiny version. Okay, so what's the tiny version of that? Sleep. You understand? Like, so for people that want to have whiter teeth, for instance, it may just be like, okay, floss your tooth. It looks simple, that's a tiny habit, but the compounding effect of that habit would bring the results. We have a podcast episode on compound learning. We did it, I think, in 2021 or 2022. Please, it will be nice to actually go back to that podcast episode to listen to it. Like, subscribe, and actually share with other people. You will learn a lot from listening to our old episodes. And then choose your prompt. I already said that. Choose your prompt. Like Moshood said, his prompt was to his brother was prompting him to achieve his goal, right? I
Yeah.
believe that some goals are very personal, right? There are some things that you won't tell people. Let's say someone that is struggling with a habit that is not that in their opinion is not good. You understand? You may have to do some prompts by yourself, maybe daily alarms and stuff like that. Then you have to learn how to celebrate. Every single time I follow through with my habits, there's space for creativity in my day, right? But I still build a structure of I have to drink water, I have to take my walk. You understand? There's room for flexibility. But I celebrate myself. Every week I do something to just celebrate myself, the fact that I've actually done well. Then lastly, rinse and repeat. Life, like I always tell young people, life is boring actually. Life is interesting and everything, but life really consists of doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, you you wake up, you drink water, you eat, you bath, same old gist. So don't let routine scare you and make it look like it's not interesting or something like that. You have to learn the fact that as young people, routines are what it is. That's where the real magic actually happens. So basically, that's it for me. Moshood, would you like to add some last words before we round up on this?
Yeah. From one of the books that I've read, one of my favorite authors, David Allen,
Okay.
and I was first introduced to David Allen last year during the ALX course, just with by listening to one quote from him.
By
It
the
says,
way, sorry, let me cut you there. By the way, you mentioned ALX. This is the second time he's mentioned ALX. ALX is a edu-tech company that helps you learn 21st century skills. You understand tech skills, data science, data analytics, Salesforce. There is a course coming on AI career essential tools and all of that. If you know you want to switch your career, you just want to top up your game this year, it's one of your goals. Ensure that you are registering to on ALX Nigeria. Go on Instagram, look for ALX Nigeria, and then follow the link in bio. Send a DM, and ALX will direct you into the right opportunities. I just needed to do that shout out to ALX. Thank you, ALX. So let's go on, please.
yeah. So the quote by David Allen got me interested in his book because he has written various books. The quote is from this book, Getting Things Done. It says,
Okay.
whatever task that is going to take you less than 2 minutes to achieve, they do it right away. And I've been living by that principle ever since. So let's say, these are habits. Let me just talk about some negative habits that people possess that they don't really know that negative. After a meal, the right thing to do is to clean the dishes,
Yeah.
right? To wash the dishes and then set them aside. But some people, after eating, they just leave the dish there and then walk away.
Mm.
But that task would take less than 2 minutes.
Mm.
You get my point? So if uh, as an individual, we start to take into consideration all these tiny habits, all these things that we do, and I think over a long period of time, we'll find ourselves that we've started improving in ways that we did not expect. Okay, like
Exactly.
when someone triggers, some people have trigger points. There are some people they can't control their anger. There are some people when you speak to them in a manner they don't appreciate, there's going to be an outburst of emotion. But if
Yeah.
they can just take 2 minutes to just reflect and then sit back, just relax for 2 minutes,
Mm.
they just find it that it's really of no importance to them. I think they
Mm.
just let it go. So
Yeah.
that principle is what I've been using, and I think I'll recommend to people as well because it can actually help. No tiny habits, they don't take time. There are
Yeah.
things that they're not time significant
It looks
that way.
simple.
So if you can, it looks extremely simple. Yeah. So
Sorry.
anything that takes you
Mm.
less than 2 minutes,
Mm.
do it immediately.
Okay. Moshood, I just want to mention, I know we are rounding up. You mentioned that anything that takes 2 minutes, quickly do it. There is a technique I learned from ALX Nigeria as well. Pomodoro technique. It basically means work for 25 minutes, relax for 5 minutes, stand up,
Five
stretch.
minutes, yeah.
Sometimes a friend of mine is actually teaching me that when I'm stretching, I should maybe do some sit-ups, you understand, do some squats during that my 5 minutes break, get back to work. And I think after five of that, you relax. Um, Sometimes my 25 minutes of work, this is what I do actually. I I just say this time is for little things. And I have it written here on my journal here, little things. So all those things that take 2 minutes to do, you understand? I create 25 minutes to do it. Oh, I'm supposed to reply Moshood. I'm supposed to send someone a picture. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to respond to you understand? I'm supposed to respond to a mail. So sometimes what makes us clumsy as individuals is the fact that we have tiny little things to do here and there that we've not done. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Like you just feel like, oh, I've not responded to this. And it just makes you disorganized. For me, I just create 25 minutes after I do my early morning rendezvous. The first thing I do is attend to my tiny habits. Trust me, tiny little things. I say, oh, respond to this person, respond to this mail, look at this, look at this. Some people, it doesn't even take up to 2 minutes. Sharp, 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 sharp. Once I'm done with that, I know that there's no pressure. It reduces the pressure I feel at that moment. And then I just move on to now doing the work for the day. So I think that's also very important in addition to what Moshood has also said to us this morning. Thank you very, very, very much, Moshood. You have just listened to this podcast episode called Tiny Habits by Tosin and Moshood, where we discussed things that will help you to gravitate towards achieving your goals this year. You should watch this, you should listen to this, subscribe so you get notifications on every your preferred channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all of that. Ensure that you also listen to other episodes. You understand? I actually like to listen to podcasts when you're working, you're cooking, just play the podcast around you and make sure you share with friends. You can't have something this lovely that is talking about book reviews. People don't have time to read, so we review books, crucial conversations like this. You can't have something this nice and you're not sharing with somebody. So make sure you share PlannedPath podcast. And like we always say, PlannedPath podcast is available on all platforms. All you have to do is to type PlannedPath podcast on your browser, on your app, and it will just pop up. You understand? You feel me? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Moshood, for coming on the call today. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have something to say before we go? I think we have less than 2 minutes. We have less than 1 minute.
Yeah, I would just like to say again, work on your tiny habits. It goes a long way in defining your behavior, and your behavior in turn tells people the kind of person that you are.
Yeah. So you've heard it all from Moshood on PlannedPath podcast. Work on your tiny habits. We will see you in our next episode. Take care. Say bye-bye to everybody, Moshood.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for coming.